Hey guys, this is Chris. Welcome back to another edition of Hacking IELTS. In this episode, we're going to be looking once again at the interview with Charles here in Dubai and see how he handled the writing section of the IELTS exam. Let's see what tips he can pass on to you guys. So let's talk about task 2, which is 250 words. Do you recall vaguely or specifically what the prompt was, the topic that they provided for you?
Basically, it was about parenting and teenagers, and how teenagers have become the way they are because of parenting, good parenting or bad parenting. That's kind of like a summary of the title. I don't remember specifically, but it was an interesting, very, very interesting task because, again, I was able to express myself based on my experiences as well,
Was it an agreed, disagreed type of essay, like argumentative, opinion-based, or was it advantages versus disadvantages, or was it a problem and a solution? Recall in that sense?
If I remember correctly, it was agree, disagree.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had to, from the very beginning, I started with an open, restating the problem or the argument.
So you paraphrased.
Yes, paraphrased.
Good.
And then picked a side. So I went straight away to say that I was in support of the fact that good parenting helps teenagers become better. And then, there was so much to talk about. I mean, I was just like, I was just enjoying it. I was in it, and I was creating my content. I was expressing myself, my ideas. And I liked that particular agree, disagree, because I was actually able to use a first person singular to actually write, All
right. So do you recall what you received for your writing score? It's combined, so you're not going to see what you got for the task 1 and the task 2 separately, unfortunately. So what was the overall writing mark?
The writing mark was 8.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's great.
Yep.
Well, you can do that task like 2 different ways. You could, like you said, present your opinion all the way through, or what I've taught with my guys, my students, is that we could also break it down. So we've got 2 different camps or positions, and then you provide your opinion in the concluding paragraph.
Okay.
Either way can work. And it's interesting to note that you had written it from first-person point of view, because I know a lot of the task 2 writing people will make it very formal, like in this essay we will discuss.
Right. I took that cue from the question that was asked. It said something like agree or disagree and use some of your experiences. It had that in the question, which is very different from all the practice questions that I looked at. So I used it, and again, I think the summary is just so important because I mean, you could argue, you could have many points, but if you don't bring everything back together at the very end, then I think you lose marks.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, some questions on preparing for the writing. You said you went through some sample essays before. Did you actually look at the prompt and then write, then compare it to a sample answer? Or did you just look at sample answers? And another question after that will be about planning. So let's go to this question first.
Okay. Honest answer, I did not write while practicing. I focused a lot on the structure, on the words that are being used, on the ideas that people were generating to answer.
Did you notice that there was some kind of emphasis on connectors, linking expressions, any of these types of tools? Yeah?
Yep, absolutely. And I think that is just so important. You don't want your essay to be very robotic, if you will. Like,
to flow.
It needs to flow.
Right.
So, and also not using a lot of very difficult to understand words. So if you have like big words, look for the synonyms of them. You look for words that are used more regularly you know, not using too much of big words that your examiner will probably need to use dictionaries to.
Well, I think the main thing is if you're going to use a big word that you really know the word. I know there are some test takers who just want to throw in, $10 words just to be impressive, and they might not be using it in the right context.
That's right.
And the same thing applies with linking expressions. They might use the same one over and over again. Moreover, or in addition, or for example. So I think the main thing is that test takers are substituting different words. So there's a real fluency to the writing.
Absolutely.
I wanted to get to this before I forget, but I wanted to ask you about planning because I'm a big planner. You know me. You know what I'm like in real life. For exams, we need to plan, we need to prepare. So I have to ask you, did you do any planning for the writing? Like, did you do like a table or did you do a mind map? Anything like that before you actually got into it?
I didn't do it in the form of a table or a mind map, but I did do some planning. And I think it's very, very important before even starting to write. So my planning was in the form of understanding the question and then actually writing out the points, the ideas. So basically, if you're arguing for, you need to have 2 points before you even start writing. You need to know the direction of your essay. For me, that was the single most important part of writing. I didn't just start, I like this question, or just start writing. I had to kind of plan, how do I want my introduction to look? What was the first point to write? Because then you want it to connect. You want to, it's a story, So that was my form of planning. So on the question paper, on the side, I wrote down, okay, this is my introduction and just a brief, shorthand so that I could understand what I was referring to.
It doesn't have to be anything fancy or formal. It's just a way to get everything flowing and get it on paper, and so you can just get to the writing and make sure everything is connected.
Right.
And I think one of the other things, too, that's really important is that if we have 2 sides, then we need to have balance. And more often than not, I have test takers or candidates who are writing a whole lot more on one side than the other. Did you find that you had a balance?
I did have a balance. Even as I said earlier that I picked the side of, good parenting, I was still able to talk about how, I'll say, bad parenting, in a way, just so that I was able to give the examiner a perspective of what I'm trying to do and what direction I'm going. I think that balance is really important instead of being too opinionated, right? And just staying on your own thoughts and ideas, but give the examiner something to, give the examiner something to think about. Oh, this is the more reason why he's standing for and not against.
Right. Well, I hope that this was helpful, and what Charles had to say about the writing section was something you can use for your upcoming IELTS exam. Don't forget to visit our courses online at hackingielts.com. We also have our exam guide available on Amazon and Apple Books. Take care, guys, and catch you in the next one.